welcome to GenFriends. I'm your host, Cheri Hudson, Passey from Carolina Girl Genealogy. And guys, it is relative race time again. We're so excited. We've got special guests that I will introduce in just a minute. But our normal, regular, wonderful panel is here. We've got Melissa Barker, the archive lady. Hi, Melissa.
Hey, everybody. Glad to be here.
So glad you're here. And we've got Laura Hedgecock from Treasure Chest of Memories. Hello, Laura.
Hi, thank you for using the word normal and Laura in the same sentence.
My pleasure. And we've got Shelley Murphy, our family tree girl.
Good evening, everybody. Glad to be here too.
And our very, very, very special guest. And we're so grateful that you're able to join us tonight is Jenn and JD from season 6, Team Black. We're so excited that you're here. Can you believe that we're on season 11?
It's unbelievable.
Amazing.
It's unbelievable. We're very excited.
It's gone by fast.
It's crazy. It's so crazy. Well, before we get started, I just need to ask you this question that everybody wants to know. How is Dan doing?
I think Dan, well, I hope everyone was able to see Dan's update on Facebook and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's doing as well as can be expected. I think we're all so happy to see him as positive as he is, and he looks great. He's got his white hairs come in and he looks awesome. A lot of people are saying his blue eyes pop even more now with his hair. So
yes, I noticed that on the video. We'll put the link. We'll put the link to the video in case anybody has missed it.
It was fun for me to watch him try to connect and really let people know how grateful he is for the support. And it was fun for me to see him sort of get emotional and just really be grateful and connect that way. We're so excited that he's doing better, and we're so excited to see him on the road to recovery.
Yeah, we are too. We are grateful. We were worried that, for him, and worried that the show would stop, and it's moving on. And like he says, that, relative race rolls on. So, glad to have him hosting and glad to be here talking about day 1 of season 11. I can't even believe it. So we thought what we would do, like we usually do at the beginning of a new season, is we would take the opportunity to kind of introduce the teams a little bit. It's funny because you're here at day 1. You don't really know them very well, but man, by day 10, you feel like they're your best friends and you're trying to help them along. And so I'm so excited to get to know more about them. Let's see. Shelley, would you like to go first?
Sure. Well, my favorite color is blue. So I selected Team Blue. And what we have is John and Cantrell. And so starting off with John, him and Cantrell are total strangers. One of them is born in the Bay Area, California, and Cantrell is born in, I believe he said, Jackson, Mississippi. They did not know of each other, but they have interesting stories so far because John was adopted at 2 years old, had a great childhood, he said, and everything. And Cantrell was actually adopted at 5 days old. He knows nothing of his parents and everything. So I'm going to leave it there till we get further into the discussion. And I'll turn it over to either Laura or Melissa.
Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
I'm going to cover Team Red. I just think they were a fabulous team. Karen and Thaddeus. And Karen is Thaddeus's adoptive mom.
And she's 61. Sorry to throw that out there, but I love it because we've talked for years. Why are there older people? Who's older people?
And you all remind me, have we had a season, the last couple of seasons, where there was an adoptive parent with a child? I didn't think so. I thought this was
not.
The first.
No,
This is a first.
I thought this was a first. Thaddeus is very passionate about acting. And Karen is actually like some of us. She's a blogger and a podcaster. And so I think we can connect with her on that. So so she's just there to help support her son. And which I think is great. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. I think
so that's Team Red. They're from Baltimore, Maryland.
And his goal, he said, he wants to find his biological father. That was his goal. So anyway, I think that's wonderful. And I loved that at one point he had told Dan, he said, but my mom's always going to be my mom. I thought that was really sweet.
Right.
So I'm loving that she's going on this this journey.
Yeah, he's got a lot of great energy, and
Oh, yeah.
and she's so supportive. So it's going to be great.
It is.
Beautiful.
All right, Laura.
So I'm going to be talking about Leah and Nolan, Team Green, and they're from South Bend, Indiana, and they are an adopted brother and sister team.
Love
and
that.
Nolan is the one that looks like he's the one that's going to be featured and who he's looking for. He was adopted as a baby, and he knows that he was born in Miami, and that is about it. But I have to say, this really resonated with me because of people I have in my family, that as much as the rest of us love them when they're adopted and don't look like the rest of the family, there is that yearning, there is that, that's something that really someone outside of the family is going to be able to do for them that we can't. So I was just really touched by the brother-sister team, and I can't wait to see what unfolds.
All righty. So I'm going to talk about Team Black. Oh my gosh. We've got Tia and Carolyn. Now, Tia is the mom. She's widowed, mom of 7. What? I thought that was fabulous. But it sounds like to me that she really struggled this as an adoptee, that she ended up having to be taken out of her adoptive home because of abuse, and then ended up in foster care. So I think we'll probably learn more about that.
And continued abuse.
Yeah. And so we'll probably learn more about that story as the season goes along. She says that she's in it because she wants to find someone who loves her. And that's what she's looking for, is that love. And so I just hope that these connections work in that way for her, because we all know that sometimes things don't work out the way we want them to work out. So I'm hoping in her case that that's what happens, that she finds these connections and she feels that and finds that peace and healing that she's looking for. And then we've got Carolyn, who is a law student and a drummer, which I think is very, she's really kind of spicy and fun. I really enjoyed watching her last night. She actually grew up with her maternal aunt. She wants to know more about her biological father's side. She doesn't know anything about him. So that's her goal on the show. And again, they're strangers. So we've got 2 teams of strangers. It worked last season really well. So I'm hoping it'll work this season really well. So JD and Jen, do you have anything that you know more about these teams, or you would like to add? That?
Well, I know many of you know I work a little behind the scenes now with the social media side of Relative Race, and I love my job. It's been such a huge blessing, and part of that blessing is quite a few of the seasons we've been able to actually go to portions of marketing days or whatever and meet the teams. Yeah. And we were able to meet the season 11 teams, and they are all just fabulous. Like, honestly, what you see on day 1 is what you get with them. And I don't know, JD, what do you think about them?
Well, we fell in love instantly with all of them. I think when you have a shared experience, and I think that's what makes this show so special, is that people come with the hope and anticipation that lives will be made whole and that we will feel love. And so when we get to go there and just participate, even in a little bit of their life and their experience, it's a shared experience. And Jen and I we're in love with them immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
They're all just darling, and I think it's going to be a fabulous season. I think everyone's in for a ride and lots of good things.
I think so too. And I know that as we live tweet, because I always like to live tweet, it's only kind of time I get to talk to Joe Hinline. So live tweeting. So anyway, but that's what we were saying last night is, oh my gosh, once again, it's not like we can pick a favorite team. They're all so wonderful, and you want every one of them to meet all of their relatives and every one of them to make it to day 10 if possible. So
and isn't that what it's about? Like, really, it's we should love all of the teams, because it's more about what we're doing for the show than having it be a contest or a prize at the end. It's really about the bonding and what we all get to experience together.
Exactly. And the love they grow, the bond, that love that they grow on the show as each day goes, and they see who everybody else is meeting. You can see that love grow between the teams. It's very palpable when you're watching. So Shelley.
you're the person, which team did you talk about?
Me?
Not Carolyn. What's Carolyn's partner's name?
Yeah.
Tia. She made a comment. Even if, I don't know if she said, even if we don't find anybody, we have each other, a new friendship. And I thought that was really really made a point there about this show, because no matter what, those bonds after that season is over seems to have continued. I think JD and them, remember there was a follow-up or something that happened, with the other groups. You guys all hooked back up or something?
We've been on 2 trips with our season so far.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that's important for the audience to know that it's not just boom. And we did these 10 episodes, somebody walked away with money. Relationships are being built and sustainable.
Yeah.
Huh?
We spent an hour this morning in a 6-person text exchange talking about how forensic accounting
Raymond
works.
sent out like a little riddle, and then
on
how to solve the riddle, and we each had our own take on how to solve the riddle, and it got pretty deep and intense. And Ray was like, I was just looking for the answer to the riddle, but his wife Nikki gets really deep, and it just made me laugh. I said it's too early in the morning to start this kind of conversation, but I'm here for it. It was fun.
That's funny. I love that y'all do that you keep in touch with each other. I know the other seasons do, but for some reason I feel like season 6, and we've talked about this before, how special it was. So if y'all haven't watched season 6, go back and watch season 6. There was just something unique. Huh? What'd you say?
Our favorite.
Yeah, exactly. There's just something about those connections that y'all made. And I know that, like I said, other seasons still connect, but I don't know. I think there's still something just really special about that season.
I think for us, season, we were all married. We're all not old as us, but we're all older in life.
We're all raising kids. We're all kind of doing the same.
We've all had our hard times, and then we have this unique experience where we get to go and do this thing together. It's just different.
Yeah.
And in the last 2 seasons, we've had 4 sets of strangers. That's kind of a different deal altogether.
It is different. It is different, but it worked last season. It worked. I was worried.
It did.
I was worried, Laura.
I also love, you said something about Karen and the age. I love the age diversity among teams, that we see that, this kind of journey isn't really a particular life stage journey when you're looking for family and things like that, and how people from such different backgrounds and age groups and everything can really identify with each other. And I think Team Black is a great example of that.
Yeah.
On the surface, Tia and Carolyn, you'd say, what do they have in common?
Right.
Where does Tia live? Alaska or something like that?
It wasn't Alaska.
I don't remember.
Chicago is where Carolyn was from, Chicago.
No, but there was a picture of her in some wild place, like
South Dakota.
South Dakota. Thank you.
Might as well be Alaska.
No offense to anybody listening from South Dakota.
No, I just mean it's wild and natural.
I agree with you, Laura, because Tia is this mother of 7, right? And here you've got Carolyn, who's 29, I think she said, and so
the age of my baby.
And so you would think, what do they have in common? But they do. They have a lot in common. They're looking for family, and they're going to bond along this trip. Let's start out by talking about that challenge. Holy cow. I hope they gave them a little bit of instruction on that. People were saying, don't you?
It didn't look like they did.
Don't you have to have a license to use that? Oh my gosh.
I think you need a license in a theme park.
Probably not.
So I think that they probably, but you do get instruction.
Yeah.
Speaking from experience, before every challenge, your challenge gives you this is how you do it. This is what you can do. This is what you can't do. These are the rules you need to follow. And so But I said to JD, I would have been a terrible failure at last night's
Oh,
show.
me too.
Like that would have
It
been awesome.
was funny, but I felt sorry for
I loved it because somebody, I can't remember who said it, but somebody said all this tomfoolery going on around here. So look at all this.
What I thought was so hilarious was Dan, because he just does, and you can see it was off the cuff. He's like, so have any of you had any experience with excavators? And no one's like, yeah, a little. And Dan was like,
what? And then Tia says, well, I've done farm equipment, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh, and poor Team Red, they really, really struggled, but I could see me doing the same thing. I probably would have been, because I don't even do bumper cars well up there. So I could see me just getting that thing stuck and not being able, they had to get the tires up and over a pole. Both pieces of equipment had to do that. And then they had to smash a car and then they had to drive over the car. Well, Team Red didn't even get past tires because it just, they had
maybe 2 tires on. I remember. Did they even get 2 tires on?
I don't think they did. And they ended up telling them
it actually was exhausting because the frustration, you could see the frustration.
And their faces.
Yeah, it was frustrating.
Yeah, they had to call it for safety to begin with, and then they just ran out of time. And so I could see me doing that, just not being able to get the gears going in the right way and then picking it up the right way, and it got stuck. And then we had people making through that and then trying to go over the cars. And I would have felt the same way, like I was going to tip, because it looked like if you tried to drive over that car, you were going to tip. But all the men were probably going, it's no big deal. All the women were going, I'm going to tip. Right?
I have no problem with getting a forklift into that car and picking it up. I just don't know what else to do with it. But I would have loved to jam that thing and bust through those windows and
that would have been
pick
fun.
that car up.
I agree. That looked fun. And the smashing the car, that looked fun.
Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought that that's an actual place that people go and like an amusement park? I mean,
never heard of anything.
No, never heard of it. So
no, I agree. When our kids were little, one of my girlfriends knew someone that owned a Caterpillar dealership. And she took this group of 4- and 5-year-old boys, and all they did was get up close to and they were like high on that for weeks. If we could have taken them to a little place where they could have worked in them.
So I'm starting to think, what do I have around here at Myrtle Beach and they could come and do? And I could suggest that so I could get Relative Race out here to Myrtle Beach.
And on top of all of that,
do it and not tell you, and you would find out later they had just done it.
I know. Yes. I'd have been so sad.
And on top of all of that, it was pouring rain.
Yes, it was wet and muddy and icky, and probably a little bit cold too. So they finally Team Green got out of there first. They finally all got out of there. And I thought it was interesting that Team Red was just going to go to Baltimore. And so they said their limo just picked him up and took him to the car. Boom. They're just cross the mud, limo, get going. So I thought that was pretty funny. We had the rest of them either had to fly or drive. And I noticed that somebody posted on social media, why didn't Team Black just fly straight into Vegas? Well, it's because they had to have a little bit of drive time. That's my thought. And so they sent him down to St. George and then had them drive the hour.
But it was funny because to get from Philly to St. George is difficult. To get from Philly to Vegas is easy. But I'm sure you're right, is they had to have some drive time.
They all had about an hour's drive time. And so that wouldn't have been fair for them just to fly and not have to have the drive time. I love it when they're going through their backpacks. So, looking to see what's in those backpacks. And of course, they've got the new phones. But I love when Dan's showing things and talking things up. And then he goes, but unfortunately, unfortunately, they can only text each other, which I thought was interesting. Right. So they can only text each other. But I guess, I don't know, we'll have to wait and see if they're going to have to take any pictures or anything this season. So day one's always a little different from the rest of the days. Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see what else they might add. And JD and Jenn going, we know what they add. We can't tell you.
He wishes that we would have had just an Apple phone. Remember how terrible of a texter he was?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, they said they were iPhones, so
Really
they just
bad.
disabled that stuff, which is unfortunate.
But
So
I kind of miss the flip phones, and the whole trying to do the selfie and get yourself in there. And I kind of miss that. But I guess we need to move on.
Yep.
I'm in the move on camp.
You're the move on camp.
I thought it was pretty smart. I thought it was pretty smart for Carolyn and Tia to, when they're on the plane, to get out their maps.
Yes.
And to study. I thought that was pretty smart.
Use that.
that was the comment I was going to make. Who do you think when they basically got out of the gate? Remember the visitor center was one, so that might give us indication about the travels on how they jumped out there, getting a map and even thinking about that. But
right. And they got Team Black got the Realtor magazine.
And I would have never thought
that was smart. Is that I think that was a first. I thought
they usually don't have maps in there. They have just a street right where the house is at, but not maps.
Apparently that one did. So that turned out that turned out for the best for them. Right. Absolutely.
But that was interesting how they all jumped out and then made it to the doors.
We've got to, and we've talked about this before. We've joked around, JD and Jen, we've talked around that we're going to make an official GenFriends guide to planning. If you're going to be on relative race, what you need to know. learn how to, I guess they don't have
read a map.
Read a map, but they don't have to do the flip phones anymore. But just watch the other seasons and kind of figure out the types of things, even though they change it, there's still things you can learn. I mean, remember the big book from your season that was put together by Team Green? Yes. She had the whole.
She played well. Cute as she was on top of it.
She was on top of it.
We had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. We only had like 5 weeks notice.
We're just put into it. That's right.
On fast forward mode.
Yeah, I remember that. Well, I feel like that they got to meet family real quick. This and
wow,
not third cousins 4 times removed. It's like, it was major family, and so I don't even know who'd even start with. I mean,
father.
Okay, all right, okay.
Is this it? Right off the bat, I mean,
when you drive up, and the only person you say you really want to meet, and that's Thaddeus, the only person he really wants to meet is his father, and he's going back to where he knows. He's in Baltimore, and this man is on the doorstep. I mean, who else do you think it's going to be, unless it's an uncle or something? And he just comes out and he says, "I'm your dad." He's like, "What?" What?
Yeah.
And I thought it was beautiful the way he accepted the mom, the adoptive mom, and just her, and she was
just
grateful.
grabbed her. Yeah.
He
pulled her right in.
She was grateful for that he accepted her into the family as well. And I just thought their connection was beautiful as well. And he had known of Thaddeus when he was a year.
He was 1 year old. Yeah. He thought he had gone to live with his mother.
Yeah, in Atlanta or something. And they just didn't know where they were. Yeah, Laura?
I just thought, I know it does seem sudden that off the belt he meets his father, but if you look at what it does for the season and how it sets up the love of a long lost biological relative with the love of a mother who raised the child, it just really balances the season. It really, like, so far from a storytelling standpoint, or what are we going to expect?
Yeah,
it really does do a good job. I mean, it makes you wonder what Thaddeus is going to find yet, or is he going to spend the rest of the time like, what am I doing? But I really did think having that scene at the beginning of the season was really important.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And see, Laura is our writer. She's our storyteller. And so she always looks at things like that. And she's got a different eye. And so I love her comments, and I love how she looks at things, because it makes me look at things a little bit different. So you're right. Yeah. His story is going to be beautiful, I think. And it was a good first meeting, a good first connection. Team Blue had was it Team Blue that had the first actual of season 11? I think they showed his.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, it was his first, right? His first, and he got to go in, and they went to a church, right? Right story. Yeah.
They went to a church.
Yeah, they went to a church. He's like, what are we doing at a church? And they walked in, and when that woman smiled, yeah.
What'd she say? Look at
she did, but when she smiled, you knew. But I think what we learned from last season is don't assume.
Don't assume just because it's a race and a color, it's going to connect.
Exactly. Because that last season taught us it doesn't make any difference. In this case, we knew. There was no question.
Oh, yeah.
Who she
but
was.
I don't know if people saw the banner on the church. It was Black people on the banner of the church.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be interesting. I mean,
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, when they were getting out of the vehicle and walking up, you could see, and I thought, oh, that's a Black church. I said that to my mom, that's a Black church. But again, I still couldn't assume, because that would be like me saying something about my own family. Until you get in there, I don't know who it's going to meet, You
don't know who it's going to be. So she was this great aunt.
Great aunt,
yeah, she was this great aunt, and then all that family that was there, another great aunt and uncles and cousins, and he was able to see a picture of his mother, and he asked, did you know anything about me? And of course they said no, we didn't know.
They didn't know.
And so she must have been going through something that she felt like she couldn't tell her family, is what they thought. So
and they're all pastors.
And they're all pastors. How interesting is that? They're all pastors. And I think there's going to be more to his story too, because he was commenting when they were saying that he has grandmothers that are going to love on him. He was commenting about how he had one grandmother that passed away, and then he had another that didn't quite accept him or connect with him in his adopted family. And he said he didn't have anyone. So it makes me wonder if they're what that story is. Did he mean that he doesn't have anyone because they've passed away? Does he mean he doesn't have anyone because they're estranged? What does he mean by that? So
nothing about his father.
And we'll probably learn more. Yeah, I'm sure we'll learn more about that. And sometimes I think it's the way that it's edited, and maybe they don't realize it makes us go, wait a second, what does that mean? Because we really think about it, what they're saying. And so then the next time, sometimes they'll say it and we'll go, wait a minute, but before he said this, but now he's saying this. Oh, it must just be the way it was put together. So he's going to have an interesting story.
And his mother's still alive.
Yeah. Yeah. His mother's
But a slight clarification, you said they showed a picture of his mother as a baby. So he doesn't know what she looks like at this point.
And see, I even questioned which one.
He said the forehead.
The mother.
He said the forehead. We have the same forehead. So I thought that was really great. And
I wasn't sure that the baby was the mother.
Yeah, because
it doesn't say
it's the great aunt, and she said this was me with his mother. So if she's the great aunt, then she's older. And Jane, I know that you know what it's like to see that person that looks like you that you didn't know about. So those are emotional moments when you see that.
Yeah, the whole first episode was just absolutely incredible. The people that they meet and the connections that they make and the feelings that you can tell they feel are what make this show so great.
Yeah.
For me, being able to walk up and see someone who looks like me and feel that love and connection, it's hard for other people to understand, but it is. My favorite part of that whole day was later watching Jenny watch us hug for the first time.
Yeah.
because her excitement for for each of us was also part of the experience.
Yeah. And that's another thing that we've always talked about is watching the other person, watch what's going on, watch the connection.
Yes. And it also made us wonder how these stranger teams must feel, because when JD and I went on the race, even on the days that I met my relative, he was just as excited because we're one.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
like we're connected. And so whether it was his relative or my relative, there was this equal amount of like emotion and love and bonding, where we wonder what it's like to be one of those stranger teams when Tia's watching Carolyn meet her family and John's watching, Cantrell meet his. Like, I'm sure they're thrilled. I'm sure they're so happy to be on the journey, but it has to be a little bit different. Like, oh, dang, it's not me today.
It does. It has to be that little disappointment.
Yet last season, we saw as the season went on, they were just as thrilled for their
as
the season, because they start bonding in that car, and then they're crying with the other, and the other family is pulling them in, just like they were. They're all family, and so I think probably the same thing. I'm hoping the same thing will happen is as the days go by and they each start meeting people, that they'll be just as thrilled for the other.
And family bonding with also the stranger with their newfound family.
Yeah.
So, just like the daddy pulled the mama in. Well, she's got additions now to her family.
Yes.
The other children she has and stuff. So it's a growing thing, building relationships. I love it. I got an email, and I'm making a side comment from a lady that we were explaining this on Friday nights in a chat. And she sent an email back. She said, I cannot believe that you and Karen sent me on this thing. And she got hooked. Season, she was an episode after episode. She was just going. I didn't know anything about this show. And there she went. And I told her, start from season 2, because I think 1 is down. But start from season 2. Yep. So you can get a hang of it. And she said she wasn't going to forgive us for this, but she was just going at it one after another.
That's too funny. You do get hooked. So we haven't talked about Nolan. So that was beautiful for Nolan too. I just, he meets his sister, and of course that's his sister. They are so much alike, but he's going to meet this biological sister with his sister, his adopted sister, the girl he's grown up with as a sister. And what I thought was wonderful was Leah's statement when she says, now we have got you to add to our family. Usually that's the other way around, right? The person, their relative that they're meeting is all, now, we're going to love on you and you'll never be lonely again, and all this kind of stuff, because they've been waiting for months to meet them, right? But here's Leah going, we're welcoming you into our family. And I thought that was beautiful, because they can do
it. Was particularly because I'm trying to look up the sister's name.
It's Leah. Oh, for the
Kayla, right?
Kayla.
Kayla. Yeah. So Kayla was kind of like saying, well, I don't really have much of a relationship with our father. And she's at the same age as Nolan.
Yes, they're both 20.
And so I thought it was so beautiful that then Leah jumped in at that point, because it ended the awkward moment, and it let the connecting start, that so you never know whether the people are on this journey because someone needs them, or whether they're on this journey because they need that someone.
Exactly. And Relative Race has been so good at doing that, because every season you see them meet a relative who's waiting for them, who's never met a relative before.
Right. Yeah.
And who needed them.
And they needed each other just as badly. And so it's like the magic of Relative Race, they find these people and they're there for each other. So I think that is just wonderful.
Nolan is gonna be one of those people that you will remember forever. He's such a beautiful human. and he has this incredible spirit about him. And I was a little bit worried when we met them because Leah is his equal.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, she's going to steal the show because she's so warm and she's so engaging and she wants so much. She wants everyone to love her brother.
Yes. Yes.
As much as she loves her brother.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was
beautiful.
It's evident. Yeah. They're going to be a fun team to watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, good.
I think it's going to be an interesting whole season because of all these little things with each of these groups, the two strangers, people coming from different life experiences. And I think of the South Dakota, the Chicago, totally opposite of growing up. So seeing how they all kind of blend together will be interesting.
And I think too, we've got different types of experiences with adoptions.
Yes.
We've got some who everything was great. They felt like part of the family. I mean, Nolan says, "This is my family." I never felt like I wasn't part of the family.
John said the same thing.
Yeah.
And then you've got others that there were issues. And so I think that's interesting too. And I think it's good for people to understand that people aren't looking. I think people assume that if you're going to go out there and look, it's because something bad has happened in your adopted family and you just but it's not true. Everybody needs to know where they came from. They need to make those connections if possible. So excuse me, I like the fact that there's the different stories that people can understand that every situation is different. Every single one is different and people go on the journey for different reasons.
I would say, if we just step away from the show for a moment and each of us went about our day open and vulnerable to connect with the people in our lives, we would find out that even though we come from diverse backgrounds and different challenges or currently challenged by different things, if we could just be open, we would find out that we have more in common with one another than we don't. And we would find that our lives were more fulfilled and happy as we accept and appreciate what other people bring into our life.
Absolutely. Well said.
Very wise words. Very
Yes.
wise.
I love that.
And by the way, you should be nice to the lady who bags your groceries or the person who takes your money at the gas station, because you might be related to them.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Well, you should be nice to them even if you're not related.
Chances are you just might be. And
It could be.
I'm sitting here, I'm all happy, and then all of a sudden, you get to the office and you're like, no, I forgot. We've got to get to the results. My favorite part of the results is that they get to talk to each other.
Results, did we talk about who Carolyn met?
Oh wait, did we miss Carolyn? I'm sorry.
I'm not sure. Did I
Her
just say
sister.
that?
Nope, she met her sister. Thank you.
Yeah.
Laura, thank you. Yeah, she met her sister and she met her niece, but then she discovered that niece was not from
the niece,
the sister.
Yeah.
She's got
one of the 7 sisters.
woo, she's got a big family, and that's what she was looking for.
7 sisters and 1 brother.
Yeah.
Go back and watch it again. The embrace that they have, and she calls her my love.
My love. I know.
I know, that was so sweet.
I know. That just touched my heart. Oh my gosh. And she just kept calling her that. And that was beautiful. And I think, you've got, and I might be wrong because I've never done this, but when you get information saying that you've got a family member coming, you've got all this time to think about it. They're coming, and you wrap your head around it, and you get so excited, and you want that person so badly, and you've waited for so long that those are the thoughts that come into your mind, right? My love, you're here. We love you, and you're home now. And then you get the person on the race, the adoptee or whomever it is looking for their family, and they're just nervous. Am I going to even be accepted? Is there anybody that's going to be behind those doors other than a 10th cousin 16 times removed because nobody else wanted to meet me, right? And so you've got this dichotomy of, I'm afraid of who I'm going to meet, and are they going to accept me? And these people that they've been waiting A lot of them didn't even know they existed. If they did know they existed, they've been waiting for years. But most of them, they've been waiting since the show contacted them. And so they're so excited. And they're like, do you really? And so there's a shock of, oh my gosh, they really want me. And so I love that.
And then add to it the day that they just had and the travel and getting lost and being stuck in a car or being, I mean, it just, and then you're being filmed and is your mic on or did they have to fix something or, it's a lot.
Right. And how many times do we have to redo this scene? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we saw it with Kentrell too, when the second great aunt hugged him.
Yeah.
And she was very emotional.
Yes.
And you almost saw like this beginning of like that thought process, like, what am I going to do with this woman? And then he realized, I'm going to hug her because he needs.
He just held on.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. It was kind of a shock thing.
Not
Like,
for him, but like you said, they've felt them. I think Thaddeus's dad said it's been 3 months of me knowing this, so you're right. They've all been planning and picturing it where on the other side of the door, we're just wondering who it could possibly be and what it's going to be like.
And will they reject me? Will it be okay? Will this be okay in the end? Are they going to pretend when we first get there? I'm sure all that kind of stuff goes through your head. Is this really going to work? Are we really going to click? And then all of a sudden you see that emotion, that raw emotion. It's just absolutely beautiful. And then they have to spoil it all by saying, all right, it's done.
exactly.
You got your first strike or whatever, a tie or whatever.
Exactly. But I have loved since they've been doing this for quite a while now, is using the Zoom connections to have the teams talk to each other and introduce who they've met. And you see those connections and that's a bonding. And I know they're on talking to each other a lot longer than what we see. And so they probably get to tell a lot more stories and things and share a lot more things than we get to see on the show itself. But I love how proud they are when they get to turn that camera and say, this is who I met today. And the excitement and the other teams is, this is my dad, and this is my sister, this is my aunt, whomever it might be, that they're so excited for each other. I love that so much, that they build those connections. And then, I'm crying at home and everybody's crying and Dan's crying and we're all crying. So it's just beautiful.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
What is what is the time process from meeting one relative to the next? And the reason I'm asking that, is it days, a few days? I know we got travel, but realistically, what is that? And the reason I'm asking is because all the things she kind of just said, where do you have the time to process who you just met?
It's unbelievably challenging.
The short answer is you don't have time to process.
Okay. Okay. I just, you worry about, this is shock now. All of a sudden, here's my father or whatever
because
it is.
Y'all do it. It is
it's consecutive days.
Yeah, consecutive days. There's nothing in between except sometimes there's travel to get to day 10.
I would imagine maybe their first day with those flights, those 3 teams that had to fly.
They had a little more time.
Yeah, but our days were consecutive.
Yeah.
Okay. So you think of the mental part of that, of being able to process, especially someone that knew nothing.
Yeah. And the exhaustion of I know JD and I had really long drives. Like those were 18-hour days that were just as exhausting mentally, physically, emotionally as you can imagine. I mean, put yourself on a 10-day road trip.
Yeah.
But not really taking time to stop and enjoy the roses. Like, cause it's just boom, boom, boom.
The day I met my sister, we got done filming everything at about 9:30 in the evening.
In the evening.
Yeah. And then we had some food together, but this is day 4 for me. And so we've been going really, 18-hour days for 4 days. And I wanted to sit up and visit with her all night. Yeah. But
we knew we couldn't.
If I don't get some sleep, then tomorrow's going to be a disaster. And it's just such a challenge. And then there is all the stress of who are these strangers and how do we connect, and is there going to be weirdness, and what will we do after the race? And there's so many emotions. For me, I'm kind of a spiritual guy. I try to live my faith as much as I possibly can. And I will tell you that it was the spirituality that I have that kept me just going. There was no more fuel physically. There was no more fuel emotionally. There was no more fuel mentally. It was all spiritual. And I felt like I was just being carried through this experience, like I was on the most special ride ever.
Love it.
That's
Wow.
beautiful. That's beautiful.
I hope one day that Jen and I get to be coaches to these beautiful people before they go.
Yeah.
Because
that would be great.
the first 3 days, you just don't have any idea what's happening. The schedules are so weird. Your producer keeps telling you, hold, don't say anything, stop, hang on, don't do this, your mic's broken, whatever. And you're just so out of body. When I saw Thaddeus meet his dad, I felt that shock and awe that you could see it all over his whole body. He didn't know how to be in that moment. And then by the end of the day, he doesn't want to go on the rest of the journey. He just wants to hang out.
Yeah, he's done. He just wants to talk to his dad.
And Mama too. There's no way
you can't blame him. Like, you can't blame him, because for him, like, that's the pinnacle.
Yeah.
You wonder what's going to be in his next days.
Exactly. When you meet on day 1, the person that you were hard to meet,
to leave his sister on day 4. It was a really hard thing to.
Well, on day 1, for me, when they told me that my dad had passed, there was a moment where I was like, well, then what am I doing
this?
Yeah.
You know?
And so it's just, there's so many incredible opportunities and so many incredible challenges in this experience. And the fact that we as fans get to sit back and watch these beautiful people go through, it's all awesome. I love Dan. I love this part. I love what they're doing. They have such a special mission. I hope that God continues to bless that program.
I agree. I agree. Well, unfortunately, we do have the results. But the first time it took 11 seasons, but we had a tie for first.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? How does that happen? I just don't even.
No comment.
No comment. All right.
It happened. That's it. That's all we need to know.
And then they both get the prize, and they both
they both get the prize, but of course, they tell them you're going to get this prize, and you want to know what it is. Well, you don't get to know till tomorrow, of course. Got to have some cliffhangers, right? So it was Team Blue and Black that tied. And so then they had to see who came in the third, and then, of course, fourth. And unfortunately, Team Red came in last, and so they got that first strike.
But only by like 2 minutes.
Yeah, it was only by 2 minutes. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness. So even though they didn't finish the challenge, which just goes to show that sometimes we see that and we assume, oh, they're done for the day, but it was only 2 minutes. So it didn't really hold.
Yeah, because I think they timed him out. They probably gave him like a 15-minute penalty or something.
Well, and he went to his hometown.
Sure.
That made up quite a bit of time, because he drove to Baltimore knowing that, you know what I mean? Like he was familiar with his surroundings.
Exactly.
That's true.
And who knows, on day 2, he still may stay in Baltimore.
That's right.
He may just be hopping around Baltimore and be able to not have to go anywhere and do much better on day 2, right? So anyway, it was a wonderful, wonderful start. And every year I think to myself, okay, they've been doing this for a long, long time. Is it going to be as good? Can they find...
Well, you know what makes it good though every year is that we have different people, and they're all individuals, and they all have their own experiences. And so it's just like genealogy. When you research in each individual ancestor, they're all different, and so they all bring something to the table, and they all have their own story which we're supposed to tell. So and
you never know until you open it up.
Melissa.
I think whatever season we're currently currently in, that's your favorite season, because you do like feel so tremendously drawn and like connected to the people you're currently watching, that every season is your favorite.
Exactly. And it's like I said at the beginning, you know, we see the little videos and we watch and we know their names, a little bit about them, but then sometimes I end up calling them the wrong names because I'm starting to, get to know them. And so you get to the end and you're like, oh my gosh, I love these people, and you've never met them, but you just fall in love with these people. And so all those connections, it just touches your heart, and it just makes you feel good. It just makes you feel good.
Well, to Melissa's point, it's interesting because we're lucky enough to live in an area where there's a lot of fans, and we meet someone about every week, and every person that we meet kind of meets us in a different way, based on what their experience was, based on what's important to them, based on how where they were at in their period of life. I've had some people ask me about my job because for some reason what I said about my job mattered to them, and they wanted, and then other people are like, tell me about how you feel about your dad. I know he passed, but tell me how you, and so you get to have these experiences with the fans from their perspective. And we're all different, like Melissa said, and we all have different stories. And so Jenny and I get to now connect with all these other strangers in a really unique way, talking about things that are important to them.
Yeah.
And it has helped our race live on, I think, a little bit longer, because we are fortunate enough we get to talk about it.
Yes.
We really are lucky and blessed. I mean, we were up sledding a few months ago, and we were covered in head to toe with, our hats and our gloves and our scarves and our coat, and just this much of our faces were showing. But yet this guy came up to JD and he was like, I don't remember your name, but you're Team Black, and and he had this story, and we talked to him for probably an hour and a half.
He remembered Jenny doing so well in Goo Goo Blah Blah, and he remembered.
She did.
It was interesting.
It is really, like, it's been a gift for us to kind of continue to relive our journey. It has kept it, I think, a little bit more alive for us, because we're able to talk about it a lot. And
then the fact that Jenny went to work for this fabulous company, and we get to meet all these incredible people who are on their journeys or going on their journeys.
It's awesome.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. We are so glad to have you back on GenFriends. Thank you so much
for coming
and talking to us. You are welcome. Same link. Anytime you want to pop in, you got the link. Every Monday night we're here. And so
we're definitely gonna be here the next 10 weeks, aren't we?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
So thank you so much. It's always nice to get your perspective on the race and the teams, because you've lived it, you know what it feels like, and you can give us that the thoughts that we won't have because we've never done it. And so we love having you on.
Well, we love you guys. We honor the work that you do. Genealogy is
not easy,
but it is vitally important. We are connected to all of those who have come before us, and the fact that you guys celebrate this great show this way makes us love you even more. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, with that, thanks again for everybody being on, and it's going to be another great season. I can just tell. I'm like, do not let anybody get kicked off early. We want
ties.
Yes, we want ties. We want everybody. There's got to be some way everybody can go to day 10. We've got to figure that out.
Make those suggestions.
That's our goal. That's our goal, is to have everybody go to day 10. So we appreciate you, and we will see everybody next time on GenFriends. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.